Many of us create art digitally for relief printing and end up needing to transfer that image to Linoleum for carving. There are lots of techniques out there for doing this, and I wanted to share with you what I do and what I like and don't like about the process. Before starting any of these transfer processes, you should prepare the surface of your linoleum. I have a video on how to do that and will link it in the description. When I first started, I would transfer by simply redrawing the image directly on the linoleum. I would do this by first creating a grid over my artwork in a drawing software that could be recreated manually on the linoleum. This grid would help me keep the reproduction as close to the original as possible. I would first draw the design in pencil so I could erase as needed. Then I would trace over that with a Sharpie so the design stays clear and readable while carving. Sharpies have been the only permanent marker brand I've found that work on the linoleum without smearing. The drawback for this method is the amount of time it takes, as well as losing some of the looseness or energy of the original due to the careful nature of redrawing. You also need to be sure to mirror your reference image digitally, or you will end up redrawing it in a way that is backwards once printed. An upside of this method is being able to draw directly on the linoleum, giving you a second chance to make any minor changes, as well as letting you really see the scale of things like line weight, which can get away from you when you are drawing digitally and zooming in and out, without ever having seen the full piece up to scale in front of you. There were lots of times I noticed that my lines were way thicker than needed, or were too thin to accurately carve. Overall, I've stopped using this method as I feel the cons outweigh the pros for my needs. Plus, I can always adapt and learn how to draw at a better scale digitally, while I will never be able to drastically reduce the amount of time it takes to redraw manually. The second process of using acetone and toner is what I use most now. It's cheap, fast, and easy to reset itself if mistakes are made. It also helps to be the most accurate to the original digital drawing. The first, most important part is to print your artwork using a laser printer. This process only works with toner ink. Inkjet printers will not work. Printing in black and white seems to have the best results for me. I don't own my own laser printer, so I just go somewhere like Staples and print there. At only a few cents a copy, it's a good option outside of buying your own printer. Once your artwork is printed, tape one side of it down to your prepared linoleum. This will allow you to check your process without misaligning your artwork to what has already been transferred. Next, use a cotton pad with 100% acetone. I've just purchased nail polish remover from the grocery store. Apply it with some force in small sections of about 3 to 6 inches since acetone evaporates quickly. Doing it in small sections like this will allow you to use a spoon to apply additional force to the wet area without applying too much acetone. On the subject of how much acetone to use, this is something you will need to practice a couple times to get a feel for. I aim to saturate with just enough to make the paper as transparent as it could be. Adding more acetone than this will flood the surface of your linoleum and the toner will wash away, leaving a blurry or non-existent transfer. After you have gone over the design once, you can lift up the paper to see where more acetone may be needed. You don't need to worry about the transfer being too perfect, as you can easily do some touch-ups where necessary with a Sharpie afterwards. When I use this process, I don't aim for having a total toner transfer. I just aim to have a design with enough contrast that I'm comfortable following the lines. Overworking to get a perfect transfer just risks using too much acetone and washing the design away. Lastly, there are markers that can be used in the place of acetone to transfer your artwork to linoleum. The marker I've used is a xylene-based blender from AD Markers. You can follow all the same steps using acetone, except you won't have to constantly load up a cotton pad and the marker liquid won't evaporate as fast, giving you more time to apply pressure. One of the reasons I don't like this method is that fumes coming up from it are very strong. I think it would also end up being more expensive and difficult to use on larger transfers. I still keep my marker around for extremely small prints, so I don't need to worry about accidentally using too much acetone, though you can definitely still use too much marker. I hope this video is helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. You can also find links to any of the products or tools I've mentioned in the description.